Paul, since you feel hesitant to me, I would like to do this live with you. Would you be up for that? To open up your uh, email client and type in the email right now? How do you feel about that? Put you on the spot here.
Okay, do I know this person's email address? I think you do. Okay. Share screen.
By the way, this is what I mean by we're doing this live. Whenever there's a thing that is a little hard, a little difficult, a little challenging, I'll do my best to do it live. All right.
This is cool. So, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So the origin story is it's the chatbot idea.
Yep.
At work, the customer support team always seems stressed. If you deal with far too many, they say they deal with thousands of tickets a month, and I'm like, okay, we must be able to automate some of these things again. Deal with them before they become support requests. So my thinking was, I'm maybe supposed to talk about the solution. Some way to handle all these repetitive support queries and questions.
Notice, John, how quickly you dive into the solution.
Yeah.
So, here, let's ask. Hey, Christian, you wanted to practice asking questions about this. Why don't you ask Paul to tell a little more of his story so we can figure out the origin story here, the actual thing that was going on?
So why did you try to build this? Oh, that's a valid question.
It's a valid question. I will improve the question just a little bit. Where were you working that you had that many support requests?
When I think about it, thousands, I'm not sure I believe them, but with a small organization, but they have a lot of people that use the system. So there's only, the company's called Fizz. We deal with apprenticeships in the UK. So our software is like a portal where that tracks an apprentice all the way from when they start their apprenticeship all the way through to getting a certificate and all of the grades and assessments and bookings and stuff that happen in between. So there's 6 figures worth of apprentices on it, and I don't know how many thousands of people use the system, and we only have a support team who speak to customers. There's like 4 or 5 people maybe. So they're kind of inundated.
Okay. All right. Christian, do you have another question?
Yeah, they have absolutely no automation to do this, right? They did everything manually.
They have a ticketing system and a phone line, and there's no automation other than that. I mean, they have a knowledge base as well. I don't know how up to date it is.
Okay.
Is there systems existing? Why not to buy something that's already there?
Well, they did look at a few different options, and so they use Zendesk for the ticketing system, and Zendesk has a chatbot thing, and I think it was really expensive, and other people in the team had seen it, and they didn't think it was very good.
Do you hear yourself say that?
Yeah.
Very expensive, not very good. So the obvious existing alternative that everybody uses, Zendesk is kind of popular, is very expensive, not very good. And you need to figure out for yourself, Paul, maybe talk a little more to the support team to understand what exactly too expensive means and what exactly not very good means. Like very expensive compared to what? Compared to hiring another support person, compared to just slogging through it, compared to support requests go unanswered, compared to what exactly is it very expensive compared to, and who is it expensive for? Because the people paying are not the same people who are using. I'm not asking you to answer this question necessarily right now, that's part of the situation. And the other thing is what does it mean that Zendesk isn't very good? The Zendesk bot isn't very good. It isn't very good for what? And under what circumstances? What exactly didn't it do well? Because it might turn out that it's excellent, but it has an edge case that it doesn't work well with.
Yeah. So it was there's actually a developer in the team that said it wasn't very good, if I remember correctly. The thing about it being expensive was more like, well, they don't even list the price on the website, so you know it's going to be, it's at least like a mid-sized ticket item, I'm assuming. I don't know what the actual price is. And compared to other ones on the market, I know there's others that are very cheap. So,
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
Please.
Did you try to figure out how much would they be willing to pay for this if this would like solve that problem really well?
No, well, it's kind of a weird thing because I'm not even taking the lead on this. It's another developer on the team that has been evaluating all the different options, one of which is my product. So I don't know. I mean, I told him what my price was, and he was like, it's nothing to the company. But I tell them what would they be willing to fork out. I actually don't know if they could have a magic wand to fix it. I don't know.
Right.
They drop money quite easily and other stuff. So
That's cool. That usually means you can price whatever, like that usually means that the natural price for that kind of product is quite high, and then whatever Zendesk is asking for may actually be reasonable because this is because the one important characteristic of what you're talking about is that it becomes a real problem at scale. And at scale, like when you have enough customers and enough support inquiries, right? Like that's when you need automation. Otherwise, you can deal with it manually or maybe hire another person. And at scale, companies typically have money. They also have more severe requirements for quality and for stuff like that. So it's not clear based on your description if there is a low-end market for this. Maybe there's only a high-end market for this, which is why it's a call us kind of thing on Zendesk. But let's redirect that story towards an email to someone else, not in that company.
yeah.
You have someone in mind. Someone who potentially works for an organization that has a lot of support requests and maybe or maybe not have some kind of overwhelm with support.
The previous company I worked at, it's still kind of a small company, but I get on quite well with their customer support manager, so I could email her.
Perfect. All right, let's
you still see my email?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I may have to. I'm assuming she still works. I haven't spoken to her in a while. I think she does. Okay.
How long has it been since you spoke to him?
It was like 3 years.
Oh.
Yes.
The subject should be the subject then should be it's been a while. So easiest thing for something like this, and that you should know that every time you reach out to people you haven't spoken in a long time or people you have never talked before, we'll have a cold emailing session separate. But in general, you need to have an excuse. Like, why the hell are you reaching out? Yeah. Right? Your excuse for now is I'm doing this course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just write it. I'm doing this marketing or entrepreneurship course or whatever you want to call it. Cool. And I'm exploring an idea around customer support. Or something like that.
Sorry, say again.
Yeah, no, does that like because it needs to sound like you. It doesn't. If it sounds like me, that one's for it.
Yeah.
I'm not even a native speaker of English, right? Definitely use your own. By the way, for everyone else, you're now experiencing the reason why we don't send these emails. We struggle over every word, and we do that even before we open the email client. We're trying to kind of formulate the whole thing in our heads before we write it. Awesome. And now a simple question. How many support requests do you get? So I'm going to tell you what I think you should ask, and then you write it in your own words. How many support, what I would like to know from this is how many support requests do you get per per day or per week?
Okay.
And is it challenging to deal with the volume? Right? Because based on the origin story, what we saw was that the volume itself was a problem. We're kind of taking the most superficial way of thinking about this problem and we asking a question about it.
Yeah.
The goal here is not to get the full conversation done in a single email. The goal is to get him to respond, at which point you would be able to say, you know what, let's maybe have a call about this. I would maybe add something here. I'm doing Marketing Bootcamp online and love to hear opinion on something related to customer support because it's his.
Yeah. Makes it relevant to her.
Yeah. Like that's the reason you're reaching out to Tracy, right?
Yeah. See, I did work there, so she kind of know the answer to this question, but they were trying to scale up since then.
Oh, you used to know the answer to this question.
Well, because I worked there.
Oh, you worked there. All right.
But they were trying to scale up, like they got bought out and stuff.
Okay.
So it could be
so you can say how many support tickets do you get these days, making it obvious that you kind of know what it was like back then. But you can say I remember it was a couple of dozen a day or whatever the number is in my time, but you've been trying to scale up. Just relate to what you know.
Yeah. See, when I was there, it was fairly manageable most of the time for them.
Just say that.
Yeah.
Just remember that nobody is going to burn you at the stake for using the wrong word. The stakes are not as high as it may seem. People don't actually read every word in emails. They skim, and then they reply based on what they think they saw.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what actually is. That's awesome. Go for it.
Go. Hope she still works there.
All right. Now, that's another thing you will learn about emails and messages. Immediately after you send it, you often experience a sense of cringe. Oh, I should have said it in a different way. Oh, I should have sent it to a different person. Oh, it's the wrong time of day. Oh, I should have used a different subject. That is very valuable, and we'll learn how to use that sense of cringe because it informs us how to write the future emails better.
So you are saying this cringe is useful and we should pay attention to it?
Oh yeah. Yes. And that's why sending an email is a lot more valuable than trying to rewrite it multiple times. Something happens intuitively in our heads when we send it. The specific thing that happens is that we experience empathy. We get a glimpse of what it would be like to receive it. I don't know if it's mirror neurons or what actual physical process is in play, but it always happens, and it happens to everybody. You send a message, and you suddenly feel what it would be like to receive it. And that doesn't happen if you keep rewriting it in a text edit. That's why the cringe is so powerful and so important and so useful. And when we come back, I think session 4 to cold emails, you'll see that in force. Okay, so the homework for the rest of you is to do this, and Paul, for you to send one more like this. But for the rest of you, just send one, and experience that cringe, embrace it.